Good evening and welcome to everyone. My name is Manuel Camporro. I'm Operations Manager at Opino, and I want to introduce you guys Huawei Tech Arena Italy, the coding competition that connects young talents with the open source community of Huawei Italy. I'm very glad to present you Davide Ricci, Director Open Source Technology Center Huawei, with whom we will talk tonight about Huawei Tech Arena Italy coding competition. So welcome, Davide. Please, could you explain us what is this coding competition and a bit more of yourself?
I'd be very happy to do so, Manuel, and thanks for having me here. And good evening, good morning, good afternoon, everyone from wherever you are connecting. As Manuel said, I'm Davide, and I'm the director of the Open Source Technology Center at Huawei in Europe. And all of my engineering team participate in works across a variety of open source projects that are of strategic nature for Huawei. And those projects, they code, they share, they exchange work and code with other engineers from community and other companies worldwide. So you asked me a question, Manuel. What is a Tech Arena? So first of all, we're here to introduce and kick off Huawei Tech Arena Italy. That's one of the many Huawei's Tech Arena that Huawei promotes and develops worldwide. If you want to know what a tech arena is, probably the best analogy that I can think of is think of a makerspace or university laboratory that is designed for students to go to and effectively see real life problems, those that they can't find or they find only academically described in their school books. And they can be challenged and they can challenge themselves to try and solve those problems. And they have experts, those who were previously students that came and worked for Huawei, available there to guide the competitors or the student through the resolutions of the problems. So this is the concept of a tech arena, as said, many worldwide, and we're here to kick off tonight. Yeah, the final version of it.
Fantastic. Could you tell us a bit more about the Huawei Tech Arena Italy? For example, what's the focus, or why would you recommend people, or what would you encourage people to join it?
Yes, that's a great question. If I'm a student or a technology addict listening to us, why would I join? So a lot to tell stories. So I'm going to tell you a story about myself. When I was in university, and that would be probably the first reason to join. I was studying and I was in classes, and then I had to choose the classes for the next semester. And I think it happened to every student, university and college. To me, probably more because I was maybe superficial. I was probably, loving to spend time playing soccer more than studying or, attending classes. But effectively, there is a certain amount of guesswork that is involved in figuring out what to do next. You are in college, and then next semester you can choose between cybersecurity and AI or Internet of Things, operating systems, and you really don't know what those are. Nobody has told you what they are. You only have the class, the curriculum, and what do you choose based on? I think it's guesswork, maybe cool words. Many times I found myself disappointed at the end of a class, and many times I found myself very excited by selecting a class that I just didn't think I was going to like. So the first reason for you guys to join is to see what cybersecurity is, what AI is, what operating systems are, what Internet of Things is, what Linux is, what open source coding is. What are the things that we end up studying, and you might end up studying in the future with real life examples? I mean, how these things are in development as opposed to academic research, and how we use them every day for tomorrow's products. The second reason to join is similar, and I touched upon it a little bit. So in college and university, we tend to study on, if you want, academical curricula that are based on research, state of the art, we call them. And usually there is a time gap between research and mass production. And that time gap is filled by innovation and development. That is, when you take something that was the subject of research effort and you try to apply and develop into what can be tomorrow's products. And it doesn't, innovation doesn't mean that it needs to be new from scratch. Sometimes innovation is the solution of a new problem. Sometimes it's a better solution to an old problem, more elegant, more crisp, more concise. That's all about innovation, and there's no better place than Huawei Tech Arena, Italy, to see innovation at play with the real cool products and development project that we're working on. And then third, today innovation is not something that is done behind closed doors. We all have this idea from the movies or cartoons of a mad scientist that somehow live in their own his or her own basements, and nobody knows, who pays their bills because they tend to spend hours and hours in their basement, never eating, never sleeping, probably well family, right? And then all of a sudden an invention come out, and then Donald Duck start flying. Well, that's not how innovation is done today. Innovation today is in the open. We use open source software and open hardware. The availability of software, public infrastructure, DevOps infrastructure, public cloud, open hardware for makers. It would allow developers in Milan to work with a developer in Paris, or a developer in Bangalore, or a developer in Helsinki. We do this by sharing open code, by open licenses in public cloud and open infrastructure. Right. So no matter what in the future, guys, you're going to have to work with open software and open hardware through open infrastructure. And this tech arena leverage this open infrastructure and an open source project to challenge you through the resolution of innovative problems. So these are the three reasons you guys want to join.
All right. I would like to elaborate a bit more on this point, David, in particular with what would be that open infrastructure and the open platform that will be supporting this whole project. Can you tell us a bit more about it?
Yeah. So we've chosen a pretty new project, ambitious, if you will, that we started working on about 3 years ago, and we officially launched 1 year ago. The project is called Project Onero. Project Onero is an Eclipse Foundation project, and the goal of the project is to develop a new operating system for the Internet of Things. Effectively, the operating system that powers devices that we can buy on Amazon or Huawei stores or Best Buy. And nowadays, all of these devices, come with a different OS on board, and no wonder that when you open them up and power them up, they don't work well with each other. Right, so the goal of this project is try to create a common infrastructure and common OS for all device makers to adopt, so that as users, when we buy those devices, we end up having the same look and feel and the same experience. And then once those devices come up, they can configure themselves and start talking to each other, as opposed to having us installing 1,000 applications on our smartphones. So Project Onero, as I said, is an Eclipse Foundation project. It is completely developed by open source engineers, many from my team at Huawei, many others from companies such as Onero, Seiko, Synesthesia, and then all of those engineers leverage the Eclipse Foundation infrastructure, GitLab for developing and submitting codes. They use GitLab runners for automatically checking in code and checking out codes. They use Fossology, and they use Lava to test the software. So this project is a complete flat platform that not only allows our Tech Arena participants to challenge themselves with coding problems, but also teach them how to check the licenses of the software, check for security vulnerabilities, submit code, have code being peer reviewed by other experts. Because in the open source community, once you submit something, quality is provided by many peers reviewing your work, right? So to a certain extent, our student and competitors are going to have to also learn a bit of humility, if you want. They're going to have to be humble, because their code is going to be reviewed by many before it is accepted.
Okay.
So that's what Onero and why we selected it.
Okay, thank you. Now that you're talking about these participants, I think it's a key point of this launching event that we're hosting. It would be very important to know who is the competition addressed to. What kind of profiles would you be expecting to join us?
All right, so there's the hard rules and there is the soft rules. Let's start from the boring stuff, right? So the ones, the check boxes you gotta check. So first of all, this is Huawei Italy Tech Arena. Is this for Italian only? No, it's not. This is for Italian students that typically participate in national coding competition, which are at their last year of school. But this is also for international students enrolled in Italian universities. And this is also for Italian students enrolled in foreign universities.
Okay.
So long as there's the Italian word or Italy into that, and you're a university student, that's for you. And now less of the boring stuff. So you're not going to join if you are not a technology addict, if you're not a maker. If you are a maker, if you love technology, if you love to read the manual, if you love to code, if you love to find code built by somebody else and tweak it, and if you're one of those who, bump his or her head against the wall, uh, searching for the solution of the reason why the code wasn't building. And then, all of a sudden you wake up in the middle of the night and, you just made a mistake, a typo, and then you go and you fix it and everything works. That's for you. That's who we want, because then you're going to have fun in this arena. It is a competition, but I think the number one reason why you want to join is to see how things really work in real life.
Okay. Yeah, makes total sense, and I think we're gonna find the right profiles for it. I'm sure that people are now curious to know more about how the phases are gonna work out within the competition. Could you tell us a bit more of how the whole project will be conducted?
Yes, so we're almost there. We're getting there. So it's really two phases. So there's phase number one. Phase number one is what we call an online coding competition. Uh, it's going to be made of the first track and then two tracks, one for IoT and one for cybersecurity. Throughout these tracks, first one which is common in the other two, our participants will be facing different challenges of incremental complexity. And when they fulfill the challenge or they pass the challenge, they're going to be granted points, and they're going to be end up on a score list. And but they're not going to be alone. So they're going to be helped by my team and the Onero Broad team, open source team. We have for them video pills, which help them through the challenges and give them hints and suggestions on how to download Onero, how to use Onero, how to submit code into Onero, how to use Onero test infrastructure, how to check for Onero licenses, how to submit code, and how to go through a peer review, to talk to other students and experts via the chat channel, everything through an online platform. The experts will be available for them to guide them in case they have questions, answer those questions, in case they need tips. And the experts will be available for them. At the end of this online coding competition, the top 30 students would be selected to go to phase 2. And phase 2 is going to be right here in Milano. Manuel, you're in Milan. I'm in Milan. It's going to be an on-site final challenge. The main topic of that final challenge would be cybersecurity. I cannot disclose too much, but effectively, this is about, these are the students, the top 30 that came here. So at that point, they will know Onero, they will know how to submit codes, they will certainly have learned their ropes, and we will submit challenges about finding security vulnerabilities, identifying those security vulnerabilities, providing evidence of the fact that they found it by exploiting that security vulnerability, effectively breaking the system. These are things that we will have left on purpose open in the system, and then going up online, finding the patches to those vulnerabilities, fixing them, and submitting them as code. And throughout this phases, they will be rewarded with additional points. And the additional points will that give us the podium, the top three. And the top three participants will that be awarded. I think I will be there to support the students and present the final stage, and other experts will be there with us on site.
Amazing, fantastic. It sounds so interesting, at the same time challenging. No, could you give 3 tips for whom you think would be an ideal participant, and what should they do, and when should they do it? Of course.
All right, so I could basically tell the usual, the US to say BS, but we're not going to say that, and tell you come here and be curious and have fun and everything is going to be all right. But if you're going to be clicking on this QR code right there, and register at the end of this kickoff video, you are a maker, you are passionate about technology, you're just basically looking forward to get what? Number one, your Linux development machine ready. Get it ready. You're going to need your Linux development machine in good shape. This is about coding and building. This is an OS image. OS image building it requires time and compute power. Number two, get your editor ready. So you're going to be coding, you're going to be reviewing code, you're going to be checking code from Git. So put your code editor in best shape, because you're going to need that as well. And like anything in open source, is about read the manual. And you'll find the manuals online. Get a good internet connection and a good browser in place, because you're going to be having more than 1,000 tabs in your Firefox browser. So they're going to be consuming memory. So get that in good shape, and you'll be fine at that point. At least you make it through the first 1 or 2 days.
Right. It sounds so good. I'm not. I would like to be a student again, actually, to participate. That's my only concern. But anyway.
I think we can make an exception for you, Manuel. So I think as soon as we're done, go install Linux on a development machine and get your browser and editor ready, and we'll try to get you in.
Okay, thank you so much, David. Thank you for presenting us the whole competition, and well, I don't know if you want to say anything else to the guys. If not, yeah,
I'm just wishing you guys good luck. You see the QR codes right there. Yes, and click on that QR code, register, and we'll see you online. And I would say good luck, and I really hope that I will see the best of you in Milano in December.
Okay. So guys, you've heard it, you've seen it. I think you'll agree it sounds like a fantastic opportunity. You've got until November the 14th, okay, to complete all the tracks, okay? But I strongly recommend you to start as soon as possible. Don't wait until the end, because you're going to start solving the challenges from tomorrow, okay? So the sooner, the better. So scan the QR code David was telling us about, and subscribe. You can take a look in the chat. We posted also the link. Do your best, and see you on Huawei Tech Arena Italy platform. Okay. So
thank you,
bye and thank you all.
Bye, guys. Thanks.